It is Tuesday, December 28th. This is Jaguars Happy Hour. And now, a guy who's going to stay up on New Year's Eve just to make sure the old year actually goes away, J.P. Shadrick.
Did that last year. Didn't work either. Welcome back. It's Jaguars Happy Hour. My name's J.P. Shadrick. We've got a busy couple hours ahead. Jaguars analyst Jeff Lageman standing by. We'll recap week number 16 for the final time. We'll look at the Jets and the Jaguars. The reserve COVID-19 list continues to pile up. The Jags added some names earlier in the week, over the weekend, and it's Tuesday. We'll look ahead to week number 17. The Jaguars face the New England Patriots. And then at 5 o'clock, the Jaguars Radio Network takes over with the Jaguars Coaches Show. Interim head coach Darrell Bevell will join us. We'll talk through all the things. Let's bring in Jeff Lageman. Hey, Jeff, good afternoon to you.
Hey.
What's up?
It's
a lot going on. You know, I think everybody could use a happy hour drink right about now in Jaguar land.
Yeah, did you bring anything?
I did not. Shit. That's what it is. 2-13 record. 7-game losing skid. There was a report that General Manager Trent Baalke is being retained as the GM, so there's been a lot of reaction to that, of course, on social media.
Yeah, a lot of strong reaction.
A lot of reports of names now that are being contacted for potential interviews by Jaguars brass. So there's a lot of news out there these days.
Yeah, and we thought the drama was going to end with the firing of Urban Meyer, but it hasn't. And you could actually say that the drama has been added on to over the last 2 weeks because you played two teams that are not very good football teams that had a major COVID issue as far as their roster goes, and this team couldn't beat either one of them. I mean, that's also part of the main story that's going on right now, and that's unfortunate. I really thought that this football team should have beaten the New York Jets. I thought that they should have played much better against the Houston Texans and should have beaten them with the number of starters that they had out. And the one good thing, if there's any consolation to these two games, is that Trevor Lawrence, I thought, played pretty well in New York. I do. And
his best overall feeling game in a while.
Well, yeah, in a while. And his protection was really good. And the reality is the New York Jets were missing a ton of guys in their back end. So you felt like that it was a game that he should have had some success in. In fact, one of their safeties that was playing in the ball game had been with the team for less than 48 hours. So you would expect a performance like that. So it was good. Look, and when you expect it, it's good to see. I mean, it's just not good enough just to have it. So that was a positive. I mean, and here's the reality. His day could have been even better if his wide receivers would make some plays for him. Fact. Can't argue that.
Takes two to tango.
Yeah, you got a drop in the end zone or near the end zone. I think it might have been in the end zone by Treadwell. You've got an opportunity by Marvin Jones Jr. to make a play. Drops the ball. There was contact made, but he could have avoided some of that, made the timing of it better by coming back to the ball. He had some just plain drops that were just in their hands that would have been minimal gains, but still it would have raised his completion percentage and the overall success of the day. So and he wasn't perfect, but at least it you would have had a better kind of showing than what we even saw.
And defensively, they gave up 273 rushing yards in the game.
100-yard rusher.
Tied for the fourth most rushing yards allowed in franchise history, by the way, in a single game.
And a quarterback that nearly rushed for 100 yards against them, and it was an embarrassing play on the 52-yard touchdown run.
Yes.
I mean, there's no other way to describe it. I mean, that was an embarrassing play. I mean, Smooch got him in the pocket. Gotsis gets out of balance in his rush lane. And then Rudy Ford, I have no idea what he was doing there. When he had an opportunity to push him out of bounds, Wingard with a poor effort at the end of the play. Just a bad job overall. And that's the kind of play that kind of just sticks in your craw. And you go, come on, guys. Got to be better than that. Way better than that.
That's the one that sums up everything, I think, the last little while is that one right there. And the defense as a whole has been the group that had been hanging in there the last few weeks. You know what? Given this team an opportunity, if the offense had been doing anything to stay in some of these games, they were playing okay, but that was not
JP, they gave up 273 yards rushing.
Yes.
Okay, 91. Is it 91 yards
91.
by Zach Wilson?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, and the New York Jets were missing their two starting guards.
Yes.
Vera Tucker and Duvernay Tardif.
Yep.
The left and right guard out. And then the center got hurt in the ball game, and they had to do a little bit of shuffling to their lineup. And oh, by the way, they didn't have their tight end, their starting tight end, nor their backup tight end available in the ball game. But yet they rushed for 276 yards or 73 yards, whatever it was. Yeah, that's like, come on.
Well, if it's not for the offense and then it's not for the defense, then you go to special teams. And there were issues there, too. The kickoff return, and that was one of a few that went for decent distance. Obviously, that one went for 102 and a touchdown. But
it ended up 102, 103.
They switched
I think
it to
initially
102.
It was 103, and then they
switched
changed it. Okay.
Yeah, they switched.
It doesn't matter. I mean, the crazy
It's a touchdown.
Yeah, does it matter? No. But the reality is, and we're looking at it now in front of us, and those that are listening to us through social media channels are seeing it. Braxton Berrios, you knew he's a good player. He's a Pro Bowl alternate. He was not touched.
Nobody within 3 yards of him.
He was not touched for the entire return. And that's disappointing.
Somebody tapped his heel in the end zone, I think, at the very end.
That doesn't count. Okay, in the end zone, it doesn't matter.
Technically.
Okay. Once he's in the end zone, he can't be touched and have it count. Okay. But, I mean, that's Andre Sisco. Not a very good job on that.
Yeah.
Okay. A couple other guys, look, you got to be better than that. And that's 2 weeks in a row that you've given up a kick return for a touchdown. And that's not acceptable at all. I mean, you can't allow that, especially when you have safety type players in that situation, so that if you do have somebody that can crease you, then you have a safety that can make a play. And you got to get off a block. I mean, some of these guys were getting blocked, and it wasn't even good blocks. It's just not a very good play. I can tell you that. And here's the reality.
Yeah.
It doesn't get any easier in the last 2 weeks. I can tell you that.
Right.
And what I mean by that is that you're out of the playoff picture. You don't have a head coach in place for next year. You're right now the top pick in the next spring's draft, and you've got COVID going on.
7,000 COVID guys.
You've got all this stuff that's going on to distract you from being at your best. And we talked about this a little bit before the game in New York about how even though you want to be intense and focused and all that kind of stuff and do your job, it's easier said than done.
By the way, the Jaguars have just now made an announcement, some more roster moves. Yesterday we saw, 10, 11 guys placed on the reserve COVID-19 list. Here's the full list that has just come down from Jaguars PR and their announcement. On injured reserve, Logan Cook, punter, on IR now. From Jacksonville's practice squad to the active roster, defensive back Brandon Rusnak. Signed to the Jags active roster from Buffalo's practice squad, tight end Kahale Waring. Signed to the practice squad for the Jags, a punter Joseph Charlton, and defensive end and outside linebacker Hercules Mataafa. And then on 3 have been placed on the reserve COVID-19 list today. Tight end Jacob Hollister, defensive tackle Jay Tufele, and linebacker Damian Wilson. Those are the moves today for the Jaguars.
Wow.
So no players have come off the COVID-19 list today.
Not yet, which if a player is unvaccinated, then it doesn't matter. He's 10 days on COVID regardless. If a player is vaccinated and if he has consecutive tests that are negative, then he can come off. I mean, right now, if you look at it from an offensive standpoint, Laviska, I consider him a starter, and he missed last week's game.
Yeah.
He is still on COVID. You have your 3 interior offensive linemen on COVID list, which is Norwell, Linder, and Barch. Barch missed last week's game. Manhurt's the starting tight end. He's on COVID. Luke Farrell, your backup tight end. Dan Arnold, who was on the list to
Designated
come
to return.
back.
Yeah, he was going to return. at some
IR
point.
designated to return Jacob Hollister. So now the only tight end that you have on your roster that is not on COVID is James O'Shaughnessy. So that's a position much like
he got hurt last week at the end of the game.
He did. And much like the Jets got hammered at the safety position from a COVID standpoint and an injury standpoint, that's the position that right now looks to be a problem. And defensively, starter-wise, last week, Kayvon Chazon was the starting outside linebacker along with Dwan Smoot. So Kayvon is now out. Miles Jack was out last week, still on COVID. Devon Hamilton, Damian Wilson, Malcolm Brown. And so if you consider that Kayvon is a starter, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 starters on COVID defensively.
Wow.
If you count Kayvon and Josh Allen still
right.
starters.
Yep.
I mean, that's huge. Josh, reports are that he may be unvaccinated and is going to miss this week regardless. So that's a tough situation to be in. And last year, all these roster rules were put in place to prepare for this, but they don't prepare you for this.
No, you still got to go figure it out.
Yeah.
Right. They give you the idea to, okay, we can move guys around and this, that. You still have to go figure out how to do it.
You know, offense, the tight end position is one that's hammered. Look at the outside linebacking position on defense, okay? The only guy that's not on COVID is Smoot, because Josh Allen, Renti McCray, Kayvon Chazon, and Jordan Smith, who hasn't been active for a game yet this year.
He was probably going to be up last week if he wasn't on this list.
Probably so.
Yeah.
And so now you have one guy that's left, and that's Smoot at outside linebacker.
Yeah, and they just signed to the practice squad one. So, hey, get ready, Hercules. You're about to be up there.
Well, and you claimed off a waiver Jameer Jones, linebacker from the Rams. I don't know if he's inside or outside linebacker. I mean, he may have to play outside.
You can just get out there and play.
You talk about a game plan that would be extremely limited. Extremely. I mean, because you use the example, the Jets played a lot of man coverage, and I think the reason why the Jets played a lot of man coverage in that game is because it's a hell of a lot easier to understand the rules of man coverage. Once you got a guy, you got a guy.
Cover that guy.
It's cat coverage. I got that cat, okay? And Joe doesn't like that term cat, but it's appropriate in that type of situation. That they actually had a safety, the Jets did, and in his name, okay, because I made a note of it, Will Parks, which is a guy that's been around the league for 6 years, and then Kai Nakua. These guys were signed literally within 48 hours of game time and played. Both of them were active. Nakua was a special teams guy, played, I think, a couple snaps on defense. And then Will Parks played, I think, the entire game on defense, having been in the system less than 48 hours. Can you imagine how sore he was? I mean, off the street now, not like elevated from the practice squad.
Well, I can say that he won't feel so bad when the check clears. I know that.
Yeah, I bet. I mean, look, it's a great opportunity for guys that don't have a job.
That's correct.
But, I mean, just think about it. This new variant that's spreading like wildfire that supposedly is not very damaging as far as the symptoms go is taking guys out just because, they're testing positive for that. I mean, at some point you've got to you start thinking, okay, do we just not let guys, is it okay to play with what the symptoms appear to be very similar to the common cold? I don't know.
There's reports today that the Players Association and the league are working on some changes since the CDC made some changes this week. We'll, obviously if that comes out in the next couple hours, we'll get that to you, but who knows moving ahead.
Yeah,
by the way, did you watch the Monday night game last night, by the way?
I did not.
Saints had a similar issue, had some guys down. They had the quarterback
position. They should have had Blake Bortles in there.
Ian Book was starting and just getting destroyed, right, all game long. And it was just not a great football product, especially on a Monday Night Football.
Okay, but and seriously, and you're dead on because of the quarterback situation. That makes it very apparent. Just like last year, the Denver Broncos had to have a wide receiver playing quarterback for a game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's not entertaining football.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but as long as you have the quarterback, we saw 2 games firsthand that were still very entertaining, and the teams did a good job. The Texans and the Jets, they functioned just fine.
Yeah. They figured it out.
Against the Jaguars football team, they did.
They figured it out.
Okay, so and I saw, because of what happened last night, and it was that's obviously, and you're right, JP, that's not a good display of football. And in reaction to that, coaches are realizing now that, look, you better start taking some precautions with your quarterback room. And so a lot of teams are because they're basically all the protocols and everything, most of them are instituted by the team. For example, the Jaguars, with the number of players that they have intensive protocols in place, and a lot of those are self-administered. And some teams have taken it as far as that they're not getting their quarterbacks in the same room or near each other at all, unless it's practice. And even in practice, they're keeping them separated so that they don't risk exposure, so that they don't have what the Jaguars have happening with outside linebacker and also the tight end position.
Yeah, right.
You don't want to have that happen to your quarterback room.
Carson Wentz went on the list today. And he's going to be out this week. And who knows about
because he's unvaccinated,
so
and he's been open about that.
The Colts are in the playoff. I mean, they're right in the thick of the playoff race.
And he's out for 10 days now.
That's right.
So he misses this week, and then next week he'll be able to go back middle of the next week.
We'll see. So there you have it. We'll come back in a moment. We'll get to some of these names that are reportedly being asked by the Jaguars to be interviewed. A couple of names that are out of the league at the moment that can talk to any time. And a little later, we'll take a look ahead to the New England Patriots in week number 17. The Baptist Health injury report as well. The full updated list of COVID-19 for the Jaguars is getting longer by the day. And PRI Productions, the official event production company of the Jags, has everything you need to bring your next idea to life. Visit PRIProductions.com. And it's Jaguars Happy Hour on the Jaguars Digital Network.
Jaguars Happy Hour is brought to you by Dreamfinders Homes, homes that fit your lifestyle. And by Baptist Health, changing healthcare for good.
Hi, I'm Tito Beverage, founder and master distiller at Tito's Handmade Vodka. In 1997, we became the first micro distillery in the state of Texas, and we're still making the same smooth stuff after all these years. We're still cooking in a pot still, working with our dogs by our sides, having fun and tasting batches, and I'm still wearing the same hat, even after all these years. Head over to Tito'sVodka.com to learn more about what else we're doing the same. Cheers. 80 proof Tito's Handmade Vodka, distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas. Tito'sVodka.com.
Hi folks, Frank Frangie here to tell you where to find the most authentic Southern Pit barbecue in all of Jacksonville. That's right, Bono's. For 72 years, Bono's has been smoking real pit barbecue right here on the First Coast. Smoked for hours, served in minutes, and always cut to order. You can find Bono's locations all around town and on game day at TIAA Bank Field. Bono's is the official barbecue of the Jacksonville Jaguars. If you want great barbecue, head to Bono's today. If you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
So, it's happy hour. Let's talk whiskey options. Have you tried Citrus Distillers? Have you tried Citrus Distillers Limited Edition 2021 Barrel-Aged Jaguar Whiskey? Did you know it's only available for a limited time and manufactured in Jacksonville? Yes, Jacksonville. I said local whiskey. Try it on the rocks or in a Jack's Whiskey Sour. Citrus Distillers Jaguars Whiskey is available at local liquor stores, restaurants, and the Jaguar Stadium. Drink local, Jacksonville. Find recipes and events at jaguarswhiskey.com.
Great teams leave it all on the field. But with the powerful towing and payload that Ford F-150 delivers, you can take it all with you, too. No wonder Ford F-Series is America's best-selling truck 44 years straight. The 2021 Ford F-150. Built for greatness. Visit your local Ford dealer or buyfordnow.com. Based on 1977 to 2020 calendar year total sales.
Your family isn't like anyone else's. Your home shouldn't be either. At Dreamfinders Homes, you can build the home of your dreams in one of their 30-plus communities in Northeast Florida. Choose from luxury single-family homes or maintenance-free townhomes from the 200s. Dreamfinders specializes in homes built to fit your lifestyle. To find out more, call 904-738-0165 or visit dreamfindershomes.com.
Are you suffering from shoulder pain? If you have clicking and popping in the shoulder joint, persistent pain that intensifies with use, an inability to lift your arm over your head, or a tingling, burning sensation in the shoulder, elbow, or wrist, Waiting to see a doctor could make your injury worse. Baptist Health and Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute have innovative and effective treatment options available right now to relieve your pain and restore your mobility. Don't wait. Call 904-JOI-2000.
The station that the Jaguars listen to, 1010XL. Home of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I really feel like every opportunity we've had to come back and win the game on a 2-minute drive or whatever it is, I always feel like we've had that confidence on offense. What was different about this one is just so close. Get down there on the 2 yard. We're 2 yards away, and obviously didn't execute cleanly there at the end. A lot of stuff to learn from, but the way we put that drive together, the way we stayed on schedule, it was great. Even Oshag goes down, gets hurt, can't do anything about that, lose our last time out. For us to just keep our head in the game and really execute and put ourselves in a situation to get down there. Really, I guess, we spiked the ball, 15 seconds or so on the clock and have an opportunity to get a last playoff from the 2. That's all you can ask for. And we got to be better executing on the same page. And,
There's quarterback Trevor Lawrence after the game Sunday in New York. And welcome back. It's Jaguars Happy Hour. JP Shadrick, Jeff Lageman coming up at 5 o'clock on the Jaguars Radio Network. The Jaguars Coaches Show. We'll hear from interim head coach Darrell Bevell and get his thoughts on that Jets game. The COVID-19 situation that continues to add up for the Jaguars. 3 more names listed just a few minutes ago, added to the list. Now 18 if you don't count ETN. So that's 19. Another practice squad player, so that's 20 if you count those. And, it's going to affect things for the foreseeable few days at least. We'll see what happens if the changes happen, all that coming up. So, 5 o'clock we'll hear from Darrell Bevell and get his early thoughts on the New England Patriots as well. There's all these reports coming out now because the Jaguars can begin reaching out to other teams to ask permission.
As of 8 o'clock this morning, I think?
I believe so.
Yeah.
So we already had heard a couple names that were not in the league currently, Doug Peterson and Jim Caldwell, guys who have experience as head coaches in the NFL. But the names you started seeing listed today in reports online, Byron Leftwich and Todd Bowles, both of Tampa Bay, the offensive and defensive coordinators respectively.
Which I got a lot of respect for Todd Bowles. When the job that he did, I thought with the New York Jets, I think he needed more of a chance, more of an opportunity, and they needed some time to get the personnel right. And that, I think, was an opportunity there lost by the Jets. You just needed to find better personnel because Todd Bowles is a stable, as measured, high-quality guy, and the Jets needed that at that time, and they let him go too early, I thought. So I like him. There's a lot. Look, and here's the reality. In a perfect world, you'd like to have an offensive type of guy because, you want to make sure that the offensive system stays consistent with a young Trevor Lawrence, and that's going to be ultra important to whoever that you hire. But it's not the end-all, be-all. You don't have to have an offensive coach. There's some really good defensive coordinators out there. I think that also a good defensive coordinator, Matt Eberflus of the Indianapolis Colts, is highly respected.
He's on the list.
Todd Bowles,
reportedly
highly respected. There's good candidates, the Jim Caldwells and the other offensive guys, the former coach of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Doug Peterson.
Doug Peterson is another name that you mentioned there. These guys that were at one point viewed as great offensive minds. Jim Caldwell, I think, is about 67 years old. Some view that as maybe a little bit of a negative, but I wouldn't necessarily view that as a negative because right now you need to get a nice calming influence and some great leadership with the football side of the organization, and that's imperative. And you got to do the right thing this time. And you made a mistake last year. I guess I say this year because it happened earlier this year that didn't work out, and so you got to get it right.
A couple other names that have been reportedly linked to the Jags: Kellen Moore, Dallas Cowboys offensive coordinator, and Dan Quinn on the defensive side.
Yeah, and Dan Quinn's been there, done that, defensive guy, head coach of the Atlanta Falcons. Kellen Moore, Byron Leftwich, I would put kind of them in a similar boat as far as they've both been. They're still young. Offensive coaches, obviously both played quarterback. Kellen Moore's a little bit younger than Byron. Byron, there's a link to the organization. You know, I don't know how Byron feels about his time here in Jacksonville, but I don't know if he would view it as a real positive because things didn't go, I think, as planned with him. But nonetheless, it would be a different situation with him being a coach. And is he ready? You know, I don't know that. I haven't been around Byron much lately, but I like Byron as a guy. And I'm sure he's learned a lot having been with Tom Brady recently. Mm-hmm. And here's the other reality. Would he want to leave that? I mean, this is you're talking about an opportunity to continue to coach with the greatest player of all time. Do you leave that to take a job with a franchise that's been losing for a decade? I mean, and I'm not saying that to be funny. I mean, that's a realistic question.
Truth of the matter, because in theory, could stick with it until that train has run its track.
Well, let me ask you this: if you
still have the opportunity,
if you were Byron, would you leave the opportunity to coach Tom Brady, the greatest quarterback of all time, when you know that you're still going to have chances down the line?
Right.
Would you leave that opportunity? It'd be hard, wouldn't it?
It could be tough.
It would be really hard to do that, and I don't know if there's any player that's ever played the game that you would consider that with, but Tom Brady, that's different.
So we'll see.
What is it? He just won his 18th division championship.
Yeah. Think about that. The Jags have won.
18th. Heck, hire Tom Brady to run this team.
This is what?
Make him an offer.
Is this the 27th season of Jags football? He's won 18 division titles.
It's unbelievable. Yeah. I mean, it's literally. I mean, when I say that, I mean, and when I say that about Byron, about would you leave it? I mean, that's in all seriousness. Now that wouldn't. I mean, that's look. And I know there's only 32 jobs and 32 openings, or not even openings, but 32 jobs in the National Football League, and the pay for a head job is amazing.
Immense.
I get all that, but look, Byron played quarterback in the National Football League. Okay, he made money. Okay, he's been a coach ever since he stopped playing. Byron's bank account is not in need right now as far as immediate need. I'm sure he'd like to be able to put about $8 or $9 million a year into his bank account by being a head coach. But like I said, there's also something to be said for the opportunity to be able to coach the greatest of all time. And is he really coaching them? He's probably just working with them. I think that's a better way to put it.
That's okay too.
Absolutely.
That's good for both sides apparently because it's working out well down in Tampa.
Yeah, he's doing a good job. And I like Byron. I mean, I like kind of ever since he was at Marshall, the whole leadership thing that he showed at Marshall. I like that about him.
You know what I do like about this whole thing is that it does start 2 weeks earlier than normal. They changed that rule at the owners' meeting.
Well, look, I mean, the rules. I don't care what the rules said. That stuff started long before the 2-week rule has been instituted. Okay. I mean, and I guarantee you that phone calls have already been made around the league for the openings that have been open. I mean, that's just natural. I mean, look, who's to say that agents can't talk? Well, you know, hey, look, we're just having a friendly conversation here, JP. You know,
talking ball.
You own a football team, and you know, look, I'm a coach, and you know, and talk to my agent. Yeah, well, we could probably work something. I mean, that stuff happens all the time. It's like free agency tampering, and they have this legal tampering period.
Yeah, 2 days.
Okay, so now what they do is they violate the legal tampering period to tamper before that. You know, so I mean, it's just look. I mean, people talk, and that's not going to change.
We'll come back in just a moment. We're going to look forward, Logs, to a trip to Foxborough, where the Jags have never won.
Forward to that. Can't wait.
Jags have never won there.
Yeah, just like I was looking forward to my trip on Christmas Day to go to New York. And then the day after Christmas to sit in an airport for about 5 or 6 hours.
Well, we'll come back and talk ball when we return. The New England Patriots and the Jacksonville Jaguars coming up. Of course, at 5 o'clock, it's the Jaguars Coaches Show. We'll hear from interim head coach Darrell Bevell ahead of that game against New England. This is Jaguars Happy Hour on the Jaguars Digital Network.
Jaguars Happy Hour is brought to you by TIAA Bank. Turn potential into progress. And by Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
Hi, I'm Tito Beverage, founder and master distiller at Tito's Handmade Vodka. In 1997, we became the first micro distillery in the state of Texas, and we're still making the same smooth stuff after all these years. We're still cooking in a pot still, working with our dogs by our sides, having fun and tasting batches, and I'm still wearing the same hat, even after all these years. Head over to Tito'sVodka.com to learn more about what else we're doing the same. Cheers. 80 proof Tito's Handmade Vodka, distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas. Tito'sVodka.com.
Hey Jaguars fans, it's always game on with Dunkin's $2 medium hot or iced coffee Tuesdays for rewards members. The NFL season is more than just what happens on game day. That's why Dunkin' wants to get you through the game week too. During football season, the best call is always Dunkin'. Whether it's the morning after a late night game or getting hyped for the week to come, pick up a cup of your favorite coffee and tackle the day with Dunkin'. Join today and order ahead of the Dunkin' app. Jacksonville Jaguars run on Dunkin'. Exclusions apply. Participation may vary. Limit 1 per week.
Headquartered right here in Jacksonville, CSI Companies is one of the fastest growing workforce solutions companies in the nation. As a proud partner of your Jacksonville Jaguars, CSI has the resources necessary to scale with any enterprise, yet they are small enough to maintain the agility, personal service, and remarkable experience they've become known for over the past 3 decades. This is your workforce and your business reimagined. Visit CSICompanies.com to learn more.
The Land Rover Defender story began with the simple thought of creating an exceptionally capable off-road vehicle, becoming the go-anywhere, do-anything all-terrain machine. Today, there's a new Land Rover Defender, the toughest and most advanced Land Rover vehicle ever. From the beginning, Land Rover knew the new Defender was capable of great things. Motor Trend's 2021 SUV of the Year is just the latest example. Test drive the new Land Rover Defender today at Land Rover Jacksonville on Atlantic Boulevard, or go to LandRoverJacksonville.com. Land Rover, above and beyond.
So, it's happy hour. Let's talk whiskey options. Have you tried Citrus Distillers? Have you tried Citrus Distillers Limited Edition 2021 Barrel-Aged Jaguar Whiskey? Did you know it's only available for a limited time and manufactured in Jacksonville? Yes, Jacksonville. I said local whiskey. Try it on the rocks or in a Jack's Whiskey Sour. Citrus Distillers Jaguars Whiskey is available at local liquor stores, restaurants, and the Jaguar Stadium. Drink local, Jacksonville. Find recipes and events at jaguarswhiskey.com.
As drivers, our surroundings are constantly changing. Like, when did this lane become a bike lane? And why can't I turn right on red here? And not just change, we have distractions too.
Grandma, look!
Cute ones, but nevertheless distractions. So it's important to always pay attention, especially around crosswalks. 1 in 4 traffic fatalities involve a pedestrian.
You're smart, Grandma.
Smart enough to know that safety doesn't happen by accident.
Alert today, alive tomorrow. A message from the Florida Department of Transportation.
Mike Dempsey and Fat Tony. Jaguars Today. All Jaguars, all NFL, all the time. 10 to noon weekdays on 1010XL.
Yeah, we just didn't line up correctly at the beginning, and then we had a motion that went along with it. Once we weren't all set, we were down the clock a little bit, so we were trying to move the guy that was in motion, and we never all fully got set. So, not something that should happen at that moment in the game, and something we got to get corrected.
That's Darrell Bevell yesterday, recapping the final play for the Jaguars offense in the loss to the Jets, an illegal shift, and the game was over. And welcome back to Jaguars Happy Hour. JP Shadrick with Jeff Lageman coming up at 5 o'clock. More from Darrell Bevell, interim head coach, on the Jaguars Coaches Show. We'll break down that Jets game some more. The COVID-19 additions, we'll have the full list coming up in just a moment, but we'll hear from Darrell and what that does for the organization and preparation and meetings and everything in general has been shaken up this week around the Jaguars organization. All that's coming up in just a little bit. This week, though, Logs, Week 17. Shake it off and get ready because you're headed to Foxborough.
It's the last week of the season, 17.
No. 2 more to go. This is the final road trip, and it's Gillette Stadium. Foxborough against the Patriots team fighting for playoffs and
what's the weather
a whole
forecast?
Lot more. It is. That's a good question.
Because we got really lucky this past weekend in New York. It was absolutely beautiful. I mean, it was a little cool, but for New York standards, pretty decent. And the wind wasn't even terribly bad either, because typically coming across the swamps of New Jersey, that wind can roll.
Yeah.
It picked up a little bit. You could probably hear of people that were watching on television when the mic was turned on by the head official. You could hear a little bit of that wind whipping into it. Yeah. But for the most part, I mean, you couldn't ask for a better day.
So we're looking at 60% chance of rain and a high of 55 Sunday at Gillette Stadium. 80% chance of rain Saturday, so you never know. That could shift a little around a little bit. But in the mid-50s,
yeah, I do know that we were I think the entire East Coast was expecting a little bit of a frontal system to come down, cool things off at the beginning part of next week, and so I'm sure that that's part of some of the same thing that we'll be going through up there. But yes, if it's in the 50s and rain, that's miserable. That's like the worst thing you can play in is rain.
Low of 29 that day. The next day, the high's 31, low of 19.
That's the front. There it is. That's the front.
Yep. Doppler logs here.
Weatherman.
Yeah, right.
I'm a weatherman.
You are. So the Patriots, let's start with their defense. This is a defense that's among the best groups in all the NFL statistically. They are third in total defense, third in passing defense. They have a couple of guys that are going to the Pro Bowl, a corner in J.C. Jackson and Matt Judon, who can rush the passer. But, they kind of spread the wealth. There's a lot of guys that can play their part in this defense.
Yeah, who they've got some guys. Do they have got guys on COVID too?
Judon's on the list. I'll have to check the rest of the list.
I'm just kind of curious because, I mean, the guys that really have stood out from what I have watched so far, J.C. Jackson's obviously a really good player, fourth-year player out of Maryland. Judon is a beast. I mean, whoever has to block him is going to have their hands full. And for years, Donta Hightower has been an excellent player. He's a big kind of a thumper in the middle. Juwan Bentley, I think, is a very active player. And so they've got some good players, and they've got some guys that fill some roles like Dietrich Wise, Lawrence Guy, Godshaw, and then the rookie Christian Barmore, obviously an Alabama guy. JP, you know him. Yeah. But McCourty in the back end has been there forever. They've got a really good unit overall, and the crazy thing is they spent a ton of money in free agency on the offensive side of the ball, a little bit of money on the defensive side of the ball, and they do a great job, and they do not have a named defensive coordinator, which is kind of odd. They have a senior advisor, which is Matt Patricia, who was the longtime defensive coordinator there before he left to go to be the head coach of the Detroit Lions. They supposedly have Steve Belichick, the outside linebackers coach. He's calling plays. And his brother, Brian Belichick, is the safeties coach. So interesting. I mean, that you don't have a named defensive coordinator there.
Certainly is. By the way, the Patriots added Matt Judon and Juwan Bentley to the reserve COVID-19 list. This is yesterday.
Ooh.
They joined Ramondre Stevenson, Dietrich Wise, Yasir Durant, and Harvey Lange on the list. So we've got a handful of guys.
Ramondre Stevenson is a talented running back. I mean, he's a really good running back. I like him.
Yeah. And then Kendrick Bourne was on the list last week early, missed all 3 practices, but still played in the game. He tested back in. So they've had some issues. It's not as deep as of right now as the Jaguars' issues.
Yeah, I mean it seems like it's everywhere now. I mean, how many friends do you know and family that have had it?
All over the place.
Yeah, it's definitely different, and thank goodness for the most part it's not hampering or hammering a lot of people this latest strain. You know, I don't know. Did you have a chance to read how some of it has impacted the guys? And I'm not talking about the Omicron strain, but the other ones. I mean, heck, the Jaguars have. Did you read the story about him this past week? Of course, they signed Raquel Armstead.
Yeah, Raquel Armstead.
And I remember last year he was on COVID like the entire year.
All season long. And then at one point, Doug Marrone was like, yeah, I don't expect him.
Yeah, he's not going to be back. And I guess myocarditis, where some
it was bad.
Inflammation of the heart and all that kind of stuff. Man, it's just good to see him back playing football after dealing with something like that. The latest report, a guy that just came out because he just got off the COVID list, Allen Robinson, former Jaguar draft pick out of Penn State, had COVID. He said that he lost about 10 pounds. He's not even close, he said, to being back to 100%. So, I mean, it's impacting some of these guys in a pretty big way, but for the most part, it's not impacting anybody that much. So I mean, that's good.
Yeah, let's see again if the league changes some of the standards to get back. That's kind of the work in progress, according to some reports earlier today. The New England offense, Mac Jones, rookie, 15th overall pick this past year. He's not really pushing the ball down the field. He's got a high completion percentage.
Well, wait a minute now. I mean, I keep hearing people say this, and look, Mac Jones.
What about short?
But he pushes the ball down the field enough. Trust me, okay? Because here's one way to know. Okay, yards per attempt. Okay, that's typically a great measure of how far a player's pushing it down the field.
Okay,
he's at 7.2. Trevor's at 5.9. So who's pushing the ball down the field?
What's the high point in the league? I would wonder. Like,
well, I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, my point is that we're not
pretty close.
We're not saying that Trevor Lawrence is just checking it down, right? I mean.
Oh, they haven't hit a deep ball here all season long.
For the most part. But I'm saying that we're not saying that he's just checking it down. I mean, that's the first thing that people kind of want to say about Mac Jones. Well, he's just checking it down, and he's throwing screens and all that. No, he's throwing the ball down the field, too. Turn on the film. The guy's throwing the ball down. Okay. He's not throwing go routes every time.
Right, it's not like 40 yards down
No,
the
he's not doing that. But, I mean, it's not like he's – that they put him in this kind of kindergarten-level passing attack. I mean, the guy's an NFL passer, and he's a good player, and he's accurate. I mean, that's very apparent. He's a top 10 accuracy guy. And but I mean, I think that's kind of demeaning to say, "Oh, he's just a dinker and a dunker." That's not him. And I will say that the Patriots have done a much better job than this team as far as managing their quarterback. First of all, they have a better supporting cast around him. And number two, they have managed the amount of attempts that he's had so far in the season. They have limited his exposure, and I think that's a great way. And when you have a very good surrounding cast, you can have that ability a little bit more. And, I mean, look at the attempts. I mean, has he missed any games this year?
I don't think so.
0.
No.
0. Mm-mm. Okay. Trevor missed any games? 0.
No.
Okay. And obviously with the Patriots winning 9 games, I think were they 9 games now that they've won, that they have been able to keep a score and with the scores tight or they're winning, then they have the ability to run the ball a little bit more. But I mean, just look at from an attempt standpoint. Mac Jones, 16th in attempts, 461 attempts on the season. Trevor Lawrence has 543.
It's a lot.
It's a lot more. And that's kind of my point is that, when you manage a young quarterback, you want to kind of limit the exposure that the quarterback has. So you rely more on the running game. You rely more on the controlled passing attack.
They were forced to rely on the running game 3 weeks ago in Buffalo, and
which was like awesome.
50-mile-an-hour winds and
awesome.
Snowing and blowing.
3 attempts in that game?
3. He was 2 or 3 passing. And I don't even think he wanted to go 3 passes. I think Belichick would have run the ball all game.
That is awesome.
That changed a little bit. There's been a
I watched
some
of that game, and that was truly impressive.
Yeah, Damian Harris has run the ball. He had 3 touchdowns last week, over 100 yards. They've got
good
a couple of receivers.
2 good backs.
They got 2 tight ends, obviously, and Smith.
Yeah, well,
and
they've 2
Hunter
free
Henry.
agents. Yeah, Hunter Henry, Jonnu Smith, 2 good players. I really like their wide receivers. I think that they do all the dirty work, and that's the one thing that I think the Patriot wide receivers have always done, and that's kind of always a little bit of a trait of a Bill Belichick offense, is that the wide receivers always do the dirty work. They're good blockers. They're not the Keyshawn Johnson types that say, hey, I got to get the ball, which made Randy Moss the one, or the limited amount of time that he had in New England so interesting, because that's typically not what you have with the New England Patriot types of guys, and but I like their wide receivers. I think they're very good. The one guy that they had as a high pick a couple years ago that doesn't get a ton of balls is Harry Enkeel. Harry, the wide receiver. He was a first-round pick, wasn't he?
I believe so.
Okay, I like him just because he's a big dude. He doesn't get the ball a lot, but not a ton anyway. But I'd like him just as a blocker. He's a big dude too. But Jacoby Myers, Bourne, Aguilar, they do a really good job of spreading the ball around with that offense. And their offensive coordinator, Josh McDaniels, does a really good job. Now, I'm not a big fan of him as far as being a head coach, because he hadn't done a very good job. And what happened with the Indianapolis Colts doesn't kind of leave a real positive taste in your mouth about him as a potential head coach, but make no mistake about it, he's a very, very, very sharp offensive mind.
Harry, 32nd pick in the first round, 2019.
Yeah.
So.
And big dude. Have you seen him? I mean, he's like 225, 30 pounds. Yeah, I mean, big.
A human being. So
let him and LaVisca line up. Both of those guys should be these hybrid wide receiver, H-back. Seriously, I mean, they should both be tight end types, in my opinion.
If you're looking for the MVP of the truck game, then look no further than Ford F-150, loaded with impressive capability and designed to dominate work, play, and everything in between. This truck makes tough look easy. No wonder it's the official truck of the NFL and proud partner of your Jacksonville Jaguars. We'll take a look at the injury report, a look around the AFC South when we come back. Then at 5 o'clock, it's the Jaguars Coaches Show with interim head coach Darrell Bevell, and this is Jaguars Happy Hour on the Jaguars Digital Network.
Hi, I'm Tito Beverage, founder and master distiller at Tito's Handmade Vodka. In 1997, we became the first micro distillery in the state of Texas, and we're still making the same smooth stuff after all these years. We're still cooking in a pot still, working with our dogs by our sides, having fun and tasting batches, and I'm still wearing the same hat, even after all these years. Head over to Tito'sVodka.com to learn more about what else we're doing the same. Cheers. 80 proof Tito's Handmade Vodka, distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas. Tito'sVodka.com.
Your family isn't like anyone else's. Your home shouldn't be either. At Dreamfinders Homes, you can build the home of your dreams in one of their 30-plus communities in Northeast Florida. Choose from luxury single-family homes or maintenance-free townhomes from the 200s. Dreamfinders specializes in homes built to fit your lifestyle. To find out more, call 904-738-0165 or visit dreamfindershomes.com.
Great teams leave it all on the field. But with the powerful towing and payload that Ford F-150 delivers, you can take it all with you, too. No wonder Ford F-Series is America's best-selling truck 44 years straight. The 2021 Ford F-150, built for greatness. Visit your local Ford dealer or buyfordnow.com. Based on 1977 to 2020 calendar year total sales.
Roof Claim is a proud supporter of professional football and the Jacksonville Jaguars. They built their company on an idea that homeowners deserve to be winners. When a home is damaged by severe weather, Roof Claim can identify the damage, work with your insurance company, and help you professionally replace your roof. At Roof Claim, they make protection simple. Visit their website at roofclaim.com to schedule your free drone or in-person inspection.
At Tropical Smoothie Cafe, one taste and you're feeling good now, smiling wider now, seeing brighter now, bucket dunking now, namasteing now, popping a wheelie now, living lighter now. You're on Tropic Time now. And on Mondays, try our Jaguars Duval Delight Smoothies for $2.99. And you're roaring louder now, end zone dancing now, sipping spirit now. You're on Tropic Time now at Tropical Smoothie Cafe.
Jaguars fans, here's a great way to pay with pride wherever you go. Exclusively from TIAA Bank, the Jacksonville Jaguars Visa debit card comes with a fierce look and fantastic features, along with the convenience to make purchases online or at millions of locations worldwide. And it's yours, free, when you open a Yield Pledge checking account. Order yours today. Visit TIAABank.com/JagsCard. TIAA Bank is a division of TIAA, FSB, member FDIC, and the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
When Jaguars news breaks, you'll hear about it first on 1010XL, home of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Welcome back. It's Jaguars Happy Hour on a Tuesday afternoon. JP Shadrick with Jeff Lageman. Glad you're along with us today. The Jaguars face the New England Patriots coming up in Week 17. Veterans, choose VA for the benefits you've earned. Visit choose.va.gov. Recapping the Jets game, of course. There's all the reports online of Trent Baalke being retained as GM, and then the names of the coaches that have been or are going to be contacted and asked to be interviewed that are around the National Football League currently. A couple of coaches that have already been in the league before who are out currently on that list also. But so a lot of things going on behind the scenes, and then you got football game to get ready for. And you've got the
with COVID.
Yeah, the Baptist Health Injury Report. Baptist Health Changing Healthcare for Good features so many names on the reserve COVID-19 list. And this is including today. They've added 3 this afternoon. Jay Tufele added to that list today.
Jihad Ward, Damian Wilson, right?
Yeah, Damian Wilson was added today. Here's the other one. And then Jacob Hollister, tight end, added today. Josh Allen, Dan Arnold, Ben Barch, Malcolm Brown, Caleb Unchazon, Luke Farrell, Devon Hamilton, Hollister, Miles Jack, Brandon Linder, Chris Manhertz, Laurenti McCray, Andrew Norwell, Laviska Shenault, Jordan Smith, Jay Tufele, Jihad Ward, Damian Wilson. Travis Etienne Jr. is also on the list, but obviously he's on IR. There's a practice squad player on the list on the practice squad. So there you have it. That's 20. Not to mention that, hey, guess what? These players are around other folks in the building too. There's a lot going on right now.
So you have 20. And just give people an idea of numbers, okay? That's a 53 active roster. So you got 20 out of 53. You have 16 on your practice squad, which are all eligible to be elevated for a COVID emergency. So as of right now, you've got 16 potential to take care of 20, but it doesn't mean that you have enough to take care of every position. So that's going to be a challenging situation because on that list you have an inordinate amount of tight ends and then also outside linebackers. So that's a major concern. Like if you had if it was sprinkled around your roster, you'd be like, okay, we can weather the storm. We got a guy we can, because typically on your practice squad, if you look at the makeup of most teams' practice squads, you have, a couple offensive linemen, a couple defensive linemen. You got a cornerback, you got a safety. You got pretty much the entire mini sample of position groups on the practice squad. And but when you have a position that's been hard hit like tight end and the outside linebacker, it might be difficult to recover, and to the point where you're going to bring guys onto your roster from elsewhere.
Which they did a little bit of that today. They started in that department at least. They signed from the Buffalo practice squad, Kahale Waring, tight end, and then a defensive end and outside linebacker to the practice squad, Hercules Mataafa.
You sure about that?
I think I got it close. We got a week to figure it out. So that's where they are, and we'll see. As the days move ahead, if the vaccinated players get 2 negative tests, they can be on the same day. Mm-hmm. They can be at the same time, but if they're 2 separate tests, they come back negative, then they're cleared. Yeah, but the practice starts tomorrow to get ready for the game.
Yeah, and here's the hard part is that you don't know if they're going to clear. I mean, so you have to prepare as if none of these guys are going to clear. And so from a roster management standpoint, it's not like, for example, let's say, okay, you got, how many did you say on COVID now from the active roster? 18?
18.
Okay, so you got 18. You got 16 guys on the practice squad. Well, if you want to add somebody to the active roster, do you have to cut somebody?
No, because they're on the COVID list.
So they're on the COVID list, so they don't count.
And then they come back, you got to get rid of them.
I mean, it's just, how are they going to do that? I mean, here's the thing. I mean, every team has 53 plus 16 plus however many that they have on injured reserve. So where are they getting some of these other guys from? It's just
because if they're on the street right now and they've been on the street for a while, the Saints last night had a tackle come in the game that had not played in the game since 2017 and was signed
a couple days
late
ago.
In the week.
Yeah, a couple days beforehand. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they handle this, and this is where your personnel guys really have to earn their keep, so to speak,
sure.
because you got to have a Rolodex that's pretty deep. And I think that's obviously changed dramatically. I mean, in the past, if you were thinking about bringing a guy onto your roster, you would bring him in, have him, work out, and now you're bringing guys on, signing guys sight unseen, just because you need the body, you need to be able to play game, and you might end up having a situation where, as offensive coordinator, okay, well, let's say the tight end group is banged up. Guess what? we're playing 3 wide, baby.
Yeah,
3 wide and 2 backs.
Air it out. Let's go.
Or you tell one of your backup offensive linemen, study the tight end book because you're playing tight end this week, right?
Walker Little did go out.
He
and
did
route
on the goal line, by the way,
Yeah,
which
he did.
he got no separation whatsoever.
I'd be curious. I thought about this yesterday. When was the last time an NFL game had 2 different touchdowns by offensive linemen?
I don't think it's ever happened, has it?
I don't know. I'd have to.
Yeah,
that's a research project.
I don't know if that's ever happened. And
there was another one in the league yesterday too. Lane Johnson scored.
Right. And I know that a lot of his teammates were happy for him because he had some mental health issues that he was kind of attending to this year and all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, good for him.
A lot of offensive linemen in 1 week scored touchdowns.
Look, every offensive lineman wants to catch a pass. The Jaguars tried to get it to Malcolm Brown last week, on a little flat pass, or this past week also against the Jets, and it didn't work out. I mean, I think it's all fine and dandy and it's cute, but at the end of the day, they're offensive linemen for a reason. Let's not get carried away.
Well, Malcolm Brown, by the way,
Malcolm Brown got smoked
playing fullback. Yes, you can go out for routes and such, but you still have to block occasionally, and he got put in his rear end.
There was in this play, and I talked about it in our broadcast, and the Jets have a linebacker, Jared Davis, wears number 52, and if anybody wants to go back and watch the TV copy or whatever copy that they can find, Malcolm Brown was coming downhill, and he's a big defensive tackle, and he's listed at, what is he listed at, JP? Like 310,
right around
20,
that.
somewhere in that
right
range.
Around 300.
And he's coming downhill, and Jared Davis came downhill and hit him under the chin and literally did what we call the dead roach in the air. His back was parallel to the ground, and he didn't just get knocked down, he got knocked back and was doing the flying dead roach in the air going backwards. And you can see him kind of laughing a little bit going back to the sideline because here's the reality. If you haven't gotten your rear end kicked in the National Football League, then you have not played long enough. I can assure you of that. And Malcolm Brown got crushed.
So if you go on Pete Prisco's Twitter, about 5 tweets down,
he's got it
queued up, and it's lights him up. For sure.
I felt that one.
Let's take a look at the AFC South standings, and yes, it is still a division race. Tennessee can clinch it with a win this week, though. 10-5 record, Indy at 9-6, but they're without the quarterback, Carson Wentz. Houston 4-11. They're on a winning streak all of a sudden.
What did they score? How many points this past weekend?
40-something ridiculous.
41.
Yeah, and then the Jaguars are 2-13.
Now, Tennessee, I mean, what a great game that they had against San Francisco. And Mike Vrabel, tremendous job. He's doing a really good job. And that's the kind of thing you want to find here in Jacksonville, that partnership between general manager, head coach that's going to work. And John Robinson and Mike Vrabel seem to have really good chemistry. And Mike Vrabel, I think, is is the finest young game day coach that there is in the National Football League. I really believe that.
What do you mean by that? Game day
just
coach.
As far as handling personnel, handling the roster, handling game situations, the timeouts, intentional penalties. I don't want to, and I'm not trying to say that he is as good as Belichick, but he reminds me a little bit of Belichick.
Remember where he played?
He played there. I understand it, but he just reminds me because there's very few details that he's not prepared for in a game, and that's impressive, and that's what you want in a coach. By the way, put that down as like item number 5,000 on the list of traits that you want in a head coach.
It's a long list, and the Jaguars are going through that, I would guess, as we speak. Coming up in about a minute, the Jaguars Coaches Show. We'll hear from interim head coach Darrell Bevell. I'm curious what he has to say about all this COVID-19 stuff. I mean, this is just turned the organization upside down within the last week. Since we last spoke on last Tuesday.
Well,
it all changed.
It's definitely changed. And when you sign up to be a head coach in the National Football League, you know that you're going to have issues to deal with, right?
Man.
But all of these issues as an interim coach,
it's a lot.
Wow. I hope they gave him hazard pay.
I mean, he's earning it. That's for sure. I'll say that. Jaguars trying to get it done this week in Foxborough. Coming up, the Jaguars Coaches Show with interim head coach Darrell Bevell, Joe Fortunato on the audio, Brent Reber on the video. For Jeff Lageman, I'm JP Shadrick. This is Jaguars Happy Hour on the Jaguars Digital Network.
Welcome to the Jaguars Coaches Show, brought to you by the Florida Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles. Former Jaguar Jeff Lageman and JP Shadrick discuss the latest Jaguars news with the head coach. The Jaguars Coaches Show starts right now.
And welcome into the Jaguars Coaches Show. JP Shadrick, Jeff Lageman, and Jaguars interim head coach Darrell Bevell as the Jaguars try to move forward to week number 17. The New England Patriots await in Foxborough this week. But first, we'll go back and review this Jets game from last week. A lot of COVID-19 updates. We'll get to that coming up in just a little bit. This was a wild one in the Meadowlands last week. Came down to the final drive and just, unfortunately, a yard short at the very end. But the ball in the hands of the franchise quarterback with 2 minutes to go, it's not a bad place to be. It's just got to finish at some point.
Yeah, not a bad place to be. I was really proud of the guys just in terms of asked them to continue to, to play the game. Don't judge the game wherever it is. Just keep fighting, keep playing. And it was a crazy game. It went back and forth. A lot of things happened. But to have the opportunity, I think it was, 149 to go, to get a chance to go down and win the game, is where we want to be.
Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised, to say the least, Darrell, that here we go, a December game in New York, and the weather wasn't half bad. How often do you get that?
Yeah, we were kind of excited about that. Expected to be super cold. When you look at the schedule, and you see the Jets and you see New England here late in the season, you kind of expect it to be pretty cold.
And when you go into a game like that against the Jets team, and okay, they're struggling, you're struggling, and you see that they have a number of COVID guys that are out for the ball game, what does that do to your mind, and what does that do to mindset for a team getting ready to face a team that has those issues? Because you guys have dealt with that, essentially you've dealt with that for 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, really the thing that I've been working on with these guys is just our mindset. I want the mindset to be anytime, any place, anywhere. And, we don't worry about that stuff, who they have, who they don't have. Let's play in a parking lot, wherever we want to go, and the game's called, we'll go play. And so that wasn't the focus. The focus was more on us and playing clean football, playing a clean football game. I think we did that for the most part. I don't think we had a penalty, until later in the second half. So some of the things that we're asking them to do, I think it did show up in the game.
Back to the offense now, Darrell. Some changes, obviously, in the play calling last week. Brian Schottenheimer upstairs. You're down on the field. How did it go? How was the communication, and how involved were you in talking to Trevor and Darrell and things on the field after plays?
Yeah, I thought it went really well. I thought Brian did a great job for us. It was a good change-up. We got some good momentum. We were able to play the game the way that we wanted to play it. There was a lot of good play-action passes. I thought Trevor did a great job of, looking down the field. When the shots were there, he took them. But when it wasn't there, he was able to check the ball down, kept us in normal situations. So there was a lot of good there. I thought the communication was well, I was able to a couple times go over and talk to the quarterbacks on the sideline. Could be a voice for him there, I thought it went well for the first time out.
Yeah, the shots down the field, I thought he made really good decisions with that. The protection was critical to allow him the time to do that, and I thought the offensive line played good overall. But Darrell, there were some opportunities down the field that just, you missed those opportunities, whether the balls were dropped or whatever you want to call it. But, guys got to rise up and make a play for your football team in those situations, and it was disappointing that you weren't able to make a couple of those.
Yeah, for sure. We had a couple of those shots. I know one was in the end zone, one was down inside the 10-yard line, and you really expect our guys to come up with those balls. We've been harping on it. We've been asking for those throws to be put down the field, and Trevor did a good job responding that way. I know one early in the game on the left side to to Treadwell was we got a pass interference, we got a big game there, and then those two other ones that I talked about, we got to make those plays and pull the ball in for them.
Boy, the amount of aggressive play calling out of you guys, and then also the Jets going for it a bunch on fourth down, you guys going for it on fourth down. In fact, a 4th and 1, you hit a big play to Laquan Treadwell. Special teams fakes. I'm sitting there going, man, this is about as entertaining of a game as you're going to get as far as having the aggressive play calling nature.
Yeah, I thought it went pretty well that way. We took the ball for one of the first times, and when you took the ball and wanted to be aggressive that way, and can't go 3 and out when you take the football. And they put us in a situation on a shorter fourth down, so we were able to get the fake punt. I thought our guys executed well. Again, another 4th and 1 where we took a shot down the field. Just things that we saw, things that we had game planned, and I thought Shotty really put us in good situations there.
Yeah, the special teams score on the kick return, that hurts. 2 weeks in a row. And Braxton Berrios, you guys knew it. I mean, good football player, Pro Bowl alternate. He also was a big part of their offensive game plan, but you guys got to make a play there. You got to get the guy down.
Yeah, you have to. I mean, it's happened 2 weeks in a row, as you said, Jeff, and that's things that cannot happen. We have to get it corrected, and we should have had it corrected this week. And we the thing that disappointed me the most was we didn't get off blocks, we didn't close from the backside, and we didn't even make the guy break stride. I mean, he really caught it and just ran right where he wanted to. So we definitely got to clean up that area, regardless of all the issues that we're having. And it changes the game when a play like that happens.
Interim head coach Darrell Bevell joining us. Unfortunately, in the game this past week, of course, James Robinson went down, non-contact injury, torn Achilles, done for the year. It's an unfortunate situation for a guy who's been battling all season to get on the field. When he's on the field, he's playing well, and then to have this happen so late, it's got to be frustrating.
Yeah, I know it's really frustrating for him. It's a big blow for us. He's such a rock for our team, and he's great for us in the locker room. He's kind of one of those heart and soul players, and to see it happen the way that it happens, the second he went down, I knew exactly what it was, and he's a guy that's going to be tough to replace in these last 2 games. But I talked to James. I mean, he's got great mindset, and the way that he works, that I have no doubts that he'll come back stronger than ever.
The advancements in modern medicine to go back, remember Dan Marino had his torn Achilles, and he limped around forever with that. But I mean, guys today, it seems like they recover from things like that with no problem. So that's a positive nature thing for James. And for your offense, I thought Trevor Lawrence maybe had his best game since earlier in the season. I thought that he showed confidence. He was decisive. He had better accuracy this week. Did you see the same thing?
I did, Jeff. I thought he did a great job, like I said, managing the situation of the game. He took what was there, and he did throw the ball accurately for us, and found guys open down the field, took the shorter checkdowns when he needed to. Again, the thing that we're going to continue to harp on is his ball security. I thought the one play where he ended up fumbling and they recovered it, that was an opportunity for him to save the play, and understand, hey, this is a bad situation. I'm already moving out of the pocket. Just move and throw the ball away, and we can move to the next down.
Let's go to that last opportunity at winning the ball game there, the drive at the end. First of all, the first play you guys come out with, you run a levels route and a big completion to Tavon Austin. It was a thing of beauty, really nice throw by Trevor. You put a few more plays together. Trevor is doing a really good job. Also, when you got 4 verticals, he takes off and runs, and now you got 1st and goal at the 5-yard line. At that point, what's your mindset as a play caller, even though you're not calling the plays, but as a play caller and as a head coach?
Yeah, I think there we had really good communication. I just told Shotty, it was as you said, Jeff, 1st and 5 from the 5, and we had 32 seconds to go. So we ought to be able to have no problem getting 4 plays, and that was the mindset there, to make sure that we got all 4 of our downs. The first down we threw it to the left. Really don't need to make the throw into the flat. There was other guys we could go to, or just airmail it. It was good. It was incomplete. No big deal. And then the second down, that ball was, the ball was tipped. We caught it in the end zone. I don't know if you guys looked at it or if you've seen any TV copies, but sure, on the coach's film, it looks like an opportunity for them to be able to stop the game there and replay that to see, if the ball crossed the goal line or not. And then on 3rd down, we killed it. 4th down, the reason that you kill it on 3rd down was to give us the best play on 4th down. I would like to see us do something different on 3rd down. I think we could have got into a play so that we really get 4 good opportunities there. But when you kill it and then you get your last play, you can't have that mistake that we had where we had guys in motion, not lined up correctly. That just can't happen.
You said earlier you were going to send the play to the league. Did they get back to you? What's the process on that? Not that it would change the result, obviously.
Yeah, it doesn't. I mean, it comes back. It hasn't come back, but we will send it into the league. But it just comes back with, what they thought and what would have happened on the play. If they agree with the penalty, if they don't agree, it should have been a touchdown, shouldn't have been. But you can't tell anybody anyway either. So, it's just like, you should have scored or should have not scored. It doesn't do much, but I would like to know the information, though. I want to know why the play wasn't stopped and at least taken a look at.
Yeah, I mean, it looked really close. It definitely looked like when Marvin touches it that the ball might be across the plane of the goal line, but maybe when he secures it, he's out. But, I mean, regardless of what your opinion is, it certainly is worth taking a look. And when you go into that, to go back to that first down play that I was talking about and you were talking about, and you said, hey, maybe throw somewhere different. Treadwell's an option on the right, maybe there. And then the second down play, went right through the hands of C.J. Mosley on that play. So you're a little kind of caught off guard maybe there. Is maybe a perfect situation in there, and if you have a little bit more of a veteran experienced quarterback, that you give him 2 plays after an incompletion on first down so that he is, in the event that you have a play that is complete or the clock is not stopped, then he can get the offense lined up so you're not clocking it on third down. Is that the optimum situation in that situation, Darrell?
Exactly. We have a couple ways to be able to do that, Jeff. One is to give him 2 plays, but we have other mechanisms to get the play done really quickly, and that's something that we should have been able to get done there.
Darrell will come back in just a moment and get to the COVID-19 list. It is growing by the day and how that affects the football team. This is the Jaguars Coaches Show on the Jaguars Radio Network.
Jaguars fans, here's a great way to pay with pride wherever you go. Exclusively from TIAA Bank, the Jacksonville Jaguars Visa debit card comes with a fierce look and fantastic features, along with the convenience to make purchases online or at millions of locations worldwide. And it's yours, free, when you open a Yield Pledge checking account. Order yours today. Visit TIAABank.com/JagsCard. TIAA Bank is a division of TIAA, FSB, member FDIC, and the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Jaguars fans are gearing up and saving big at Fanatics.com, the world's largest collection of officially licensed fan gear from all the leagues, teams, and Jaguars players you love. Shop the most trusted brands, exclusive designs by Fanatics, and autographed collectibles from today's biggest stars. Join Fanatics Rewards today and earn fan cash on every purchase. Shop now and get today's special offer. Fanatics.com, officially licensed everything.
Great teams leave it all on the field. But with the powerful towing and payload that Ford F-150 delivers, you can take it all with you, too. No wonder Ford F-Series is America's best-selling truck 44 years straight. The 2021 Ford F-150, built for greatness. Visit your local Ford dealer or buyfordnow.com. Based on 1977 to 2020 calendar year total sales.
It's been around longer than your quarterback. When you put it on, everyone knows it's game time. So legendary, it deserves its own Hall of Fame. Members-only jackets, undeniable quality and style for over 45 years. Scratch and claw your way over to membersonly.com. Get ready for football season with a jacket that can only be summed up in one word: iconic. Use discount code Jaguars at checkout for 35% off on all iconic racer jackets. Members only. When you put it on, something happens.
Welcome back. The Jaguars Coaches Show continues right now.
Jaguars Game Day broadcasts are presented by ViStar Credit Union. Do good, bank better. JP Shadrick, Jeff Lageman, and interim head coach Darrell Bevell. The Jaguars and the New England Patriots coming up this coming Sunday. Recapping the Jets game. We just did that a moment ago. Well, COVID-19 is a topic throughout the world, obviously, but around the NFL, the names on the COVID-19 reserve list are beginning to add up. The Jaguars were touched by that, of course, going into last week's game with a handful of starters out, including the day of the game. You find out Miles Jack's not able to go. Then, of course, Monday, 10 or 11 more names are added. Today, earlier, 3 more names added to the list. intensive protocols now. So first off, what does intensive protocols mean? And second, I mean, how do you go about when you keep adding names to the list of who's available and who's not?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, it's been a whirlwind last couple of days, and trying to figure this out. A lot of moving parts. A lot of things are changing, minute by minute. And so the first thing is the intensive protocols were put in that wear masks in the buildings at all times. That we're either virtual or spread out in our meetings. Where we're all apart. Other things outside the building where you're gathering together. Those kind of things is what the intensive protocols put us in, to try to get this thing under control.
I think last week the Jets had 11 or 12 players that were on the COVID list. They had 2 coaches, including their head coach Robert Saleh, and Ron Middleton ended up taking over for the temporary head coaching responsibilities. Did you know Ron at all, cross paths with him at any point in your careers prior to game day on Sunday?
No, we haven't crossed paths anywhere. And obviously, I did know the name and who he was, but I have not coached with him or been a part of the staff.
Yeah, and when they write up a book that says here's the head coaching manual for the National Football League, I don't think that they have a chapter ready for COVID yet. I mean, it's just crazy what you guys are having to deal with. And I remember last year when they instituted all of these new rules, Darrell, with the practice squad being as big as it was and the opportunity to have practice squad elevations, emergency COVID elevations, et cetera. I was sitting there going, boy, this is great. And fortunately, we didn't have to see it last year, but now we're seeing it. I mean, holy cow. I mean, thank goodness you have some flexibility with the roster in today's day and age.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, with what's going on right now, I mean, with this COVID, obviously it's hitting us hard. Trent's basically bunkered down trying to put a team together. Who's going to be on the field? But the other part of it is the protocols or all the rules continue to change. So by tomorrow this time, the rules could be different. We could have all those guys back. I know the CDC has just changed some of their recommendations. So who knows where it goes? We just got to stay flexible, and we got to be able to adapt to the situation.
Yeah, what happened last week with the Jets, I mean, you may end up even be faced with this situation. You don't know that, but it was a safety, Will Parks, that was with the Jets for less than 48 hours, and he was a starter for that game for the Jets and had to play the entire game.
Wow.
Yeah, we're in that situation right now. Our tight end room's been pretty much decimated, as well as our outside linebackers, and some other positions as well. So it's a tough situation right now.
Yeah, when it comes down to that, when you have somebody who might just be straight in off the street, how long does it take for somebody to get game ready, or is that even a fair question?
How many days are left till Sunday? I mean,
right. every hour.
If he's here, he's going to be able to play because it's really that guy's going to be in the game because the other guys are on the COVID list. So it just you end up simplifying things. You find out what they know, what they can do, how they can adjust the language for them a little bit, and those kind of things to be able to get them out there and play a game.
Yeah, one of the things I think that's pretty clear, because there's been such an evolving nature with the COVID rules. If a player, and this is for your purposes and roster management, if a player is unvaccinated, he's essentially out 10 days regardless. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, now if you have a player who is vaccinated, according to the new guidelines, you just need to have them have 2 negative tests to be back on the roster. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, so in other words, the testing facility and the job that those people are going to be doing for your football team are going to be paramount to you having a roster to field on game day.
Yeah, I mean, right now we're at the mercy of that, and we need these guys to get negative tests unless again they change the rules on us.
Now, out of all these guys that you have, because you read around the National Football League, and there's not a whole lot of guys that have had extremely bad symptoms. I think the one I read about recently that did was Allen Robinson, former Jaguar, currently with the Chicago Bears. Are your players okay? Because that's always the first and foremost concern. Or are there any of them that you are concerned about?
No, as far as I know, this what is it, the third variant that we've had? I think this one seems to be milder, but maybe even more contagious. So a lot of guys are getting it, but most of them just have very mild symptoms. And so thank goodness we don't have any major issues right now.
Darrell will come back in just a moment and look ahead to the New England Patriots and see who's available for both teams this coming week. This is the Jaguars Coaches Show on Jaguars Radio.
On the road, there's a thin line between safety and tragedy. Don't cross it. Give law enforcement, first responders, and service professionals the space to safely do their jobs. When you see flashing lights, move over a lane or slow down 20 miles per hour below the posted speed limit. See lights? Move over, Florida. Brought to you by the Florida Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles and the Florida Highway Patrol.
This season, make Pepsi your go-to game day drink because it's the only drink for football watching. Just look for 20-ounce Pepsi products in the cooler door at your local Gate convenience store and see how you could win an exclusive VIP experience at the Jacksonville Zoo and an opportunity to eat lunch with a Jaguars player. Eat with a big cat. Courtesy of Pepsi and Gate. No purchase necessary. Visit jaguars.com/zoo for official rules and details. Ends 12/31/21.
At Tropical Smoothie Cafe, one taste and you're feeling good now, smiling wider now, seeing brighter now, bucket dunking now, namasteing now, popping a wheelie now, living lighter now. You're on Tropic Time now. And on Mondays, try our Jaguars Duval Delight Smoothies for $2.99. And you're roaring louder now, end zone dancing now, sipping spirit now. You're on Tropic Time now at Tropical Smoothie Cafe.
You know Scrubbles is the best car wash in town with our newest location at Kernan and Atlantic. But listen to this. Scrubbles is offering the first ever car wash family plan. Purchase any of our monthly plans and get a $5 discount for up to 3 additional family members. As always, with every wash, you can enjoy free-to-use wipe-down towels, self-service cleaning stations, and that great-smelling Scrubbles air freshener. Visit us today at any one of our convenient locations. Scrubbles, you'll know quality once you arrive.
Welcome back. The Jaguars Coaches Show continues right now.
JP Shadrick, Jeff Lageman, interim head coach Darrell Bevell on the Jaguars Coaches Show. The Jaguars head to Foxborough, Gillette Stadium to face the New England Patriots. You've been in the league for a long time, Darrell. 21 years, I believe now. I'm sure you've had to match wits with Bill Belichick a time or two in your career. What is the thing you have to prepare for the most when you're facing a Bill Belichick team?
Yeah, he does a great job of really game planning your team. You know, I mean, I think that's something that he's always stood out for him is he's going to have a plan for your personnel, your team, and he's going to attack you in that way. You know, so you can go about looking at all the film, look for all the tendencies and those things, but he's going to have some wrinkles just for you.
Yeah, I've heard that before, and some people have even termed it in that he's got this shelf. You know, I'm an imaginary shelf here I'm pointing at, Darrell, by the way. Okay. He's got this shelf, and he's got 20 playbooks, and you don't know which of the 20 playbooks that he's going to pull off of that shelf because people say that he can be so different from one week to the next. Is that the truth with his offensive game plans at times?
Yeah, it is the truth. You know, he's I mean, I was fortunate to be with Matt Patricia in Detroit, you know, who comes from that lineage, and I've seen their playbook. I don't know if there was 20, but I've seen the book, and it is pretty massive, and at any point they can pull anything from it. I think the most impressive thing is what they do with their players. You know, the players are very flexible. They can use the same guys in many different roles, particularly I'm talking about the defensive guys, and it could be a whole different game plan. The fronts can be different, but, you know, they use the guys in different ways, and it's really impressive what he does.
Yeah, almost similar in nature to a lot of what you see with the Baltimore Ravens, and that they're multiple, you know, and obviously that's been a goal of your defense with Joe Cullen for quite some time, and Matthew Judon is a great football player. And, you know, you talk about being multidimensional or being a multiple type of defense. That's a guy that fits. I don't care if you're playing 3-4, 4-3, 2-5. It doesn't matter. He's a good player.
Yeah, really good player. I mean, that's where their defense starts. You know, we have to hone in on him. I believe he's on the COVID list as well. So, you know, we have to see if that, you know, what happens during the week, if he ends up getting back or not. But he's definitely where their defense starts.
And then Jackson on the back end can take it away, too. Pro Bowl corner.
Yeah, very solid out there on the edges, but the defense as a whole, you know, they do a great job of playing the ball through the possession. You know, they knock the ball out. They've just been really impressive at getting the ball, whether all different kinds of turnovers, but even balls that don't get turned over, just knocking the ball out to separate you from a catch and those kind of things. They're really always making plays on the ball.
All right, Darrell, over the last couple of weeks we've talked about talking to quarterbacks in the pre-draft process. The Jaguars certainly were in the market before the draft this past year, and you said you talked to last week's opponent, Zach Wilson, as well. Did you talk to Mac Jones at all? How much did you know about Mac going into the draft last year, and what have you seen from him so far this season?
I did not do a lot of work on Mac last year, but what I've seen this year is, obviously he's been very impressive with the things that they're asking him to do. Does a great job of managing the game. He gets the ball out very quick. He finds the open receivers. Really, really good at diagnosing and reading the defense. Knows where to go with the ball. Makes great decisions. So he's having a good year.
I remember watching a Bolles high school football game, Darrell, and I'm sitting there in the bleachers, and this Bolles quarterback was throwing the ball, and, of course, Corky Rogers, the head coach of Bolles, one of the winningest all-time coaches in high school football, never threw the ball hardly, right? He's one of these, the power wing T,
Wing T offense.
And they finally threw a football, and I went, man, that was a really nice throw to my friend Chris. And I was like, Chris, who's that guy? And he said, that's Mac Jones. I said, they need to let him throw the football more. And I come to find out he goes on to Alabama, and here he is. You're facing him this week with the New England Patriots. But even from a young age, he could throw it.
Yeah, he's been prepared well, whether it's there or whether it's at Alabama as well. Obviously understands a pro-style system, does a great job of running the system. Josh McDaniels, obviously one of the best play callers in the league, does a great job of putting him in situations to be successful. So it's he's doing really well.
Yeah, the completion percentage where he's a top 10 completion percentage guy, I think, is a testament to Josh McDaniels and also how much they expose him in that system. I think that's an amazing number to have him in the top 10 percentage completion-wise. And you talk about Josh McDaniels. What makes him so good? I mean, because he's been that one consistent factor with a little sidebar trip to Denver for the most part with Bill Belichick and the Patriots for a long time.
Yeah, I think he's learned really well, number one, from Coach Belichick, and understands his personnel, how to use his personnel, how he wants to play the game. I don't think he has this blanket system. I think he plays the opponent really well, tries to attack their weaknesses, gets his guys in good situations. I mean, obviously he had a good probably the greatest quarterback of all time for a lot of years. So it's really cool to see him using Mac Jones, and then Mac Jones having some of that same success in terms of completing the ball, moving the offense, scoring touchdowns, and winning games.
I think the one thing that it stays consistent, even from Tom Brady to now Mac Jones, the distribution of the ball with his offense. I mean, it's whoever's open is going to get the football. He doesn't really have any star players, so to speak of, in that offense, and I think that's one of the impressive things. But also the consistency of the offensive line play with the New England Patriots, and they had a standard that was set from their offensive line coach that was there for years, and his name escapes me, but you'll probably remember.
Dante
Scarnecchia.
Yeah, that's it.
One of and arguably the best offensive line coach in the history of the National Football League. The job that he has been able to do with the talent that he had, Darrell, I think has been tremendous.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely have to put him up there as one of the best of all times to do it. And you look at the talent level that he had. I'm not saying he didn't have good players, but he did it with all different styles of offensive linemen, big, tall, short, small. I mean, every level of player there, and always really had about the same success level. And the guys protect really well. They take care of the quarterback. They do a great job of building the pocket. And, you have to give him a lot of props.
Final thought with you. Darrell Bevell with us, interim head coach. A lot of noise going on, the COVID-19 list adding up, but 2 games left to go. The challenge of keeping the team focused down the stretch here, and certainly this week going to New England. How difficult is it, and can you get this thing going?
Yeah, I really do think that's the biggest challenge, right now. I mean, there's so many distractions. There's so many things going on. And, anytime you're not in the hunt, obviously, for the playoffs, I think that's, things creep in. I mean, there's human nature to all of us. And, the COVID list, just everything. And so, yeah, that's the biggest challenge that we have this week. It shouldn't be really that hard with, who the opponent is playing the New England Patriots. You always want to measure yourself against the best, and they've always been one of the best.
Darrell, thanks for the time. Good luck to you, and let's get the team healthy and get back on track. Appreciate it.
Yeah, let's do it. Thank you.
Darrell Bevell joining us, back with more. This is the Jaguars Coaches Show on the Jaguars Radio Network.
Jaguars fans, here's a great way to pay with pride wherever you go. Exclusively from TIAA Bank, the Jacksonville Jaguars Visa debit card comes with a fierce look and fantastic features, along with the convenience to make purchases online or at millions of locations worldwide. And it's yours, free, when you open a Yield Pledge checking account. Order yours today. Visit TIAABank.com/JagsCard. TIAA Bank is a division of TIAA, FSB, member FDIC, and the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Great teams leave it all on the field. But with the powerful towing and payload that Ford F-150 delivers, you can take it all with you, too. No wonder Ford F-Series is America's best-selling truck 44 years straight. The 2021 Ford F-150, built for greatness. Visit your local Ford dealer or buyfordnow.com. Based on 1977 to 2020 calendar year total sales.
We paid how much for those lessons?
Shh, she's doing great.
Oh yeah, totally. Can you pass me a Pepsi Zero Sugar? Great job, honey! Oh, look at that. That's not the end.
No way. Now it's time for the encore.
You know what? You're right. 5 times? Not enough times.
For everyone who traded in rock concerts for their kids' recitals, you've compromised enough. Pepsi Zero Sugar. That's what I like.
Yingling Traditional Lager. The beer for drinkers who know how to tap into their inner eagle and spread their wings. So prepare yourself for takeoff and let your night take flight. When your lips meet that cold, crisp amber lager, there's no looking back. So fly over the radar. Tonight's about the lager, and this lager is all about soaring higher. Yingling Traditional Lager. Spread your wings. DJ Yingling & Son, Pottsville, Pennsylvania. Please drink responsibly.
Welcome back. The Jaguars Coaches Show continues right now.
Welcome back. JP Shadrick with Jeff Lageman. Our thanks to interim head coach Darrell Bevell joining us in the first half hour every Tuesday. One more to go. One more Jaguars Coaches Show on the schedule. Yeah. That's next Tuesday, of course.
Yeah, and then after that, we'll see where the Coaches Show will be at next year.
That's right. There's all those names on the list and everything going on today, and hey, it's where it is right now. By the way, the league just announced.
Yeah, this is
big.
Breaking news.
This is breaking news. Reports now that the league and the Players Association have agreed to adopt 5 days as the standard amount of time that players who test positive will have to quarantine. That applies to all asymptomatic players, whether they're vaccinated or unvaccinated. So players experiencing COVID-19 symptoms will still be in quarantine after 5 days have passed. So that changes everything. If you're unvaccinated and you've tested positive and you don't have symptoms after 5 days, you're back. You're back.
That's a big change.
It's a big change for everybody, and it means Carson Wentz could be a go if he's not having symptoms for the Colts this week. It means a couple of the Jaguars players that are reportedly unvaccinated could be available.
So do they have to test negative?
Does not say.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's I'd like to have that explained a little bit if somebody tests positive.
The initial reports that have come out.
Yeah,
so,
I'd like to see exactly what that means. Do they have to now testing twice negative? Is that now not required if they don't have any symptoms?
From this report, it says nothing about testing again.
Okay, so that means that guys could be back.
That's the CDC rules as well. Like, you don't have to just quarantine.
So you're 5 days quarantine, and after that, you're good to go.
That's the way it reads. If we have any clarification on that, I think we'll get it to you. But as far as I read it,
interesting. I mean, I think the league has seen that this latest variant is not any more worse than, for the most part, than the common cold. And so, I mean, how many times have you played sports, JP, with a runny nose, cough, whatever?
Yes.
I mean,
that's right.
Played it with the flu. I remember when I was in Alabama somewhere. Where was the blue-gray game at?
Montgomery.
The
Crampton Bowl.
And it was 1988.
It was Christmas Day.
It was Christmas Day, and I was sick as a dog. the night before that game. I felt bad for my roommate, who was a linebacker from Memphis. I can't remember his name. I'd have to look it up on the roster. But nice guy. And I was in the bathroom literally all night, just sick as a dog. And get up the next day, and I felt better. I didn't feel great, but I felt better and played the game. So, I mean, that nowadays, it's like, no way. You can't play the game nowadays, but it's – so I don't know. Is this the way of the future? Maybe. I guess that may be how it has to be because, now you're looking at teams in the last couple of weeks that have had 12, 16, 18, 20 people on the COVID list, and now teams are – and the reality is the product has been affected a few times. Sometimes it hasn't been, but it could get affected in a big way, and when it starts to happen like that, then I think – some of the consumers are going to say, wait a minute, this is not what I signed up for. So I guess it's just the natural progression of things.
And CDC has done it for all Americans, so NFL's matching.
I'm surprised the CDC hasn't continued to be, what's the word? To make things even more stringent. Sometimes it would be exactly. You would think that with all the more occurrences and the less severity of it, that it would back off. But sometimes government and their decisions don't make a whole lot of sense.
No matter the decade.
Just saying, JP.
We're back in a moment. That's another show for another time and channel. We're back in a moment, and we'll look at the Jaguars' offense and the goal line situation at the end of the game last week.
Not good. It wasn't good.
They got down the field.
Well, he got down the field, and it was great. And literally, I said, this is time for Trevor's moment. And this is a great opportunity to win and to show the value that you have and to lead your team to victory. And he did great. But the coaching staff didn't help him out much once they got down to the goal line.
This is the Jaguars Coaches Show on Jaguars Radio.
On the road, there's a thin line between safety and tragedy. Don't cross it. Give law enforcement, first responders, and service professionals the space to safely do their jobs. When you see flashing lights, move over a lane or slow down 20 miles per hour below the posted speed limit. See lights? Move over, Florida. Brought to you by the Florida Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles and the Florida Highway Patrol.
Fans like you have been told that going all out is going too far. But fans like you know better. You're the kind of fan who loves the team as much as your pet, who paints yourself for game days and dyes your pet's fur to match. You are a rare breed. You are a pet fanatic, equal parts pet obsessed and diehard sports fan. At Pet Paradise, they're crazy about pets too. The official pet care provider of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Pet Paradise. It's a new day in pet care.
Hey Jags fans, this is Chris Manhurst of the Jacksonville Jaguars with a reminder that everyone has a right to arrive at their destination safely. In Florida, bicyclists have the same rights and the same responsibilities as drivers. When cycling, always wear a properly secured helmet, ride in the direction of traffic, and obey all traffic laws. When driving, get rid of distractions and focus on the road. Always watch for pedestrians and bicyclists, especially at night, because safety doesn't happen by accident. Visit alerttodayflorida.com for more safety tips.
Roofclaim is a proud supporter of professional football and the Jacksonville Jaguars. They built their company on an idea that homeowners deserve to be winners. When a home is damaged by severe weather, Roofclaim can identify the damage, work with your insurance company, and help you professionally replace your roof. At Roofclaim, they make protection simple. Visit their website at roofclaim.com to schedule your free drone or in-person inspection.
Welcome back. The Jaguars Coaches Show continues right now.
We're back. JP Shadrick, Jeff Lageman. Our thanks to interim head coach Darrell Bevell. He joins us in the first half hour each and every Tuesday, 5 o'clock. One more show next week in the regular season. Well, Jaguars offense had the ball in their hand, 2-minute situation inside of 2 minutes. Had to get down the field, got down the field, got the first and
Did a
goal at the
great
5.
job getting down the field.
Fantastic. Trevor with the scramble and gets out of there and runs, and then they
Brooke,
get down to the 5-yard line.
Real quick on the scramble, a lot of people thought maybe he should have cut back to the inside. That was not the thing to do. The first down throw that he had, if we can pull that back up again, it was not exactly the throw that you want to have. You're throwing a flat route to the running back, and you got 2 guys in the end zone, and Laquan Treadwell's on the other side with a one-on-one type of situation. That was probably more of the throw. Second down, we're very fortunate that C.J. Mosley doesn't make that catch. Game's over if he makes that interception.
6, if he wants it.
And then you could say that maybe Marvin Jones had it in the goal line or in the end zone and could have been reviewed. Yes, probably should have been.
They spike it with 12.
Which was a terrible decision.
Third down.
Terrible decision.
Then on fourth down, they can't get lined up.
Which is another terrible execution. So terrible decision, terrible execution at the most critical point of the ballgame. I mean, at the point where you now have 2 guys in motion, it doesn't matter what happens.
Well, unless
the game's over.
Yeah,
Trevor can throw a great pass, and that was an example of the wide receiver Tavon Austin doesn't get lined up properly. I mean, that's very apparent from watching it, and this is not the first time that we've had wide receivers have issues with whether it be running routes or running into each other. I mean, that was like one of the most ridiculous plays I ever saw in Tennessee where you had 2 guys, wide receivers, run right into each other. You're like, what are we doing? And he had instances earlier this year where quarterback and wide receiver are on the same page. You're supposed to be running a stick route. Trevor throws a stick route, and Laviska Shenault Jr. is not running a stick route.
That's a problem.
Not a very good year by the wide receivers at all. And pretty much be guaranteed there'll be some change in that group as well.
Found it interesting, Bevell, in the press conference after the game and then again on Monday, you asked him earlier about that third down situation at the goal line. You know, sometimes if it's a more experienced quarterback, maybe you have a couple of plays in mind there. Hey, if this doesn't happen, we're going to have these 2 plays, third and fourth down.
Right.
But he said that was the case.
But you still had time to communicate a call. Okay, that's 12 seconds. That the clock was stopped at 12 seconds. Okay?
On the spike.
On the spike.
So it's fourth down.
You've got 10 seconds to communicate a play call, or not even 10 seconds because you need probably 4 seconds to execute a play, maybe 5 seconds. So you probably had another 5 or 6 seconds before you needed to snap the ball, with the quarterback having the understanding, which Trevor's bright enough, by the way, that once the ball is snapped, the ball needs to be out of your hand, either in the end zone for a touchdown or incomplete within a few seconds. Okay, you got about 5 seconds because you got to leave. All you need is 1 second left on the play clock for that last opportunity on fourth down. And I think that was a major mistake by the coaching staff of spiking it on third down. In a perfect world, you've got, and look, 10 years from now, and not even 10 years from now, probably a couple years from now, Trevor's going to line up, and he's not even going to need to get a call. Maybe he'll get a code word
himself
from the coach, and then he'll call it all himself. He'll know everything, the formation, et cetera. But I mean, that takes time to get to that point if you're a young quarterback, and you can't expect a rookie to be able to do that. But the coaches should have given him the tools to execute that third down play. Not a spike, but to execute a play.
We'll return. Jaguars defense gave up 273 rushing yards last week.
Yeah, that's now what and the shame of it is that the Jets were missing a bunch of guys in the front 7 because of COVID.
Quarterback had a big hand in it as well. That all coming up. This is the Jaguars Coaches Show on the Jaguars Radio Network.
Jaguars fans, here's a great way to pay with pride wherever you go. Exclusively from TIAA Bank, the Jacksonville Jaguars Visa debit card comes with a fierce look and fantastic features, along with the convenience to make purchases online or at millions of locations worldwide. And it's yours, free, when you open a Yield Pledge checking account. Order yours today. Visit TIAABank.com/JagsCard. TIAA Bank is a division of TIAA, FSB, member FDIC, and the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Jaguars fans are gearing up and saving big at Fanatics.com, the world's largest collection of officially licensed fan gear from all the leagues, teams, and Jaguars players you love. Shop the most trusted brands, exclusive designs by Fanatics, and autographed collectibles from today's biggest stars. Join Fanatics Rewards today and earn fan cash on every purchase. Shop now and get today's special offer. Fanatics.com, officially licensed everything. Pinpoint, the official signage partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, helps business decision makers like you maximize the impact of their brand. Your company's identification, advertising, and even the words you use make an impression on your clients. With Pinpoint as your coach, you can make sure it's a good impression. Pinpoint provides the creative design and production services for anything you need to enhance your brand, from custom signage to complete marketing solutions. Step up your game with Pinpoint and create the ultimate brand experience for your clients. Visit experiencepinpoint.com.
Great teams leave it all on the field. But with the powerful towing and payload that Ford F-150 delivers, you can take it all with you too. No wonder Ford F-Series is America's best-selling truck 44 years straight. The 2021 Ford F-150, built for greatness. Visit your local Ford dealer or buyfordnow.com. Based on 1977 to 2020 calendar year total sales.
Enjoy fall savings going on right now at Renewal by Anderson. Buy one window or patio door and get one 40% off, plus $50 off each window and door. There's no money down, no payments, and no interest for 12 months. Designed to withstand the harshest weather environments. Visit rbafla.com for more. This offer expires December 31st and restrictions apply. Renewal by Anderson, the official window and door replacement company of the Jacksonville Jaguars. License number CGC 1527613.
We paid how much for those lessons?
Shh, she's doing great.
Oh, yeah, totally. Can you pass me a Pepsi Zero Sugar? Great job, honey! Oh, look at that. That's not the end.
No way. Now it's time for the encore.
You know what? You're right. 5 times? Not enough times.
For everyone who traded in rock concerts for their kids' recitals, you've compromised enough. Pepsi Zero Sugar. That's what I like.
Welcome back. The Jaguars Coaches Show continues right now.
Welcome back. JP Shadrick with Jeff Lageman. Glad you're along with us today on a busy week. Hey, it's week 17. A lot going on. COVID-19 list. Reports earlier this week. Trent Baalke is back as GM. A lot of names being reported now that the Jaguars are chasing to interview or asking to interview as head coach candidates. So that's that time of year. It started officially today. And there are 2 football games remaining as well.
It's amazing that's where we are again.
You almost forget that part. There's 2 football games.
I know. I know. It's like you're ready to have the season be over with so you can reset it, I guess you could say. But, yeah, frustrating season. And last year at this time, we were sitting there going, okay, first overall pick, that's what you want. And there was a celebration about that because you knew that the organization was going to undergo quite a bit of change, and then here we are again, with change expecting on the horizon, and the extent of that change we don't know exactly, but it's just frustrating. It's just frustrating. You'd like to have a little stability. You'd like to have, when I say stability that's already in place, and you're feeling good about where you're at. I mean, look at all the teams that had coaching changes this past year. Okay, name them. Okay, Jets, Robert Saleh.
Yes.
Okay, and you got Joe Douglas as the GM. Mm-hmm. I think they're feeling pretty good about it. I mean, Jet fans frustrated because they lost a bunch. I mean, make no mistake about it. And that's just part of the reality. The San Diego Chargers.
Los Angeles, but yes.
Yeah, I guess, sorry. That's
a fine.
I mean, I should got to stop saying San Diego.
That's a fine.
I'm probably going to call, instead of the Washington football team, call them by their old name too.
You got the L.A. Chargers with, of course, their new head coach, Brandon Staley.
Yeah, and they feel pretty good about where they're at,
I would say so, sure. Arthur Smith.
They don't feel real good about after this past game.
No, they didn't. No, of course not.
By the Texans.
That's an odd one.
Got 41 laid on them.
The Texans are on a winning streak. Okay,
Arthur Smith in Atlanta.
Yeah.
They like him, and they realize that Matt Ryan is on his last leg, and they're going to have to find a young quarterback. They get that. They feel good about that situation.
Dan Campbell in Detroit.
I mean, Detroit, are they feeling good about Dan Campbell? I don't know if they feel great about it, but I think they have a coach that's likable and has put together, in most circles, people would say that's a pretty good staff.
Nick Sirianni, Eagles.
I think they like him in Philadelphia. And they realize that they may have some work to do at finding a quarterback, but I think they're feeling pretty good about him and the job that Jalen Hurts has done this year. And I don't know if they got Minshew Mania there or not to go along with Jalen Hurts, but they realize that they've got to find a quarterback at some point. But, I mean, my point is that, you know, most of the teams that changed head coaches last year aren't happy with where they are, but at least they like, okay, you know, we've started the process. Now we just need to keep going, and we're starting anew. And that's a little bit hard to stomach.
Another refresh, and that's what it is for the Jaguars moving ahead.
But it was needed. I mean, good God. I mean, what a train wreck.
It's been a rough year, I'll say that.
Yeah, it's been a train wreck. I mean, I don't think there's any other way to describe it. I mean, it's, you know, between – and I think the last 2 weeks kind of have made it even more difficult, because you had the drama with Urban and players obviously dissatisfied. You're not playing well. You're not doing a lot of the small little things to win as a football team. And then these last 2 games, you're losing against franchise. I mean, the reality is the Texans were viewed as a dumpster fire. You got swept by the Texans, and you allowed a combined, I think, 67 points in those 2 ball games to the Texans, which is highly disappointing. And then you get a Jets team that is hampered by injury and COVID issues, and you have an opportunity at the end, and you make mistakes and you don't win. And you give up a kickoff return for a touchdown the second week in a row. And I think that's the part that it's just
273 rushing yards,
which was, by the way, that's the most yards allowed rushing in the National Football League this year. Or you could look at it the other way, that's the most rushing yards gained by a team this year in the NFL.
That's not good, Coach.
No, I mean it's like, all right, can we get to the end of the year and then and please give us some hope.
Well, I mean,
but let me just say this real quick.
Okay, yeah.
Even though these last 3 games you said you just want to close the book, okay, and you'll close the book and you want to open another book, whatever you want to call it, or open another chapter, whatever.
People read books anymore?
I do. Yes, we
online.
Do. Yeah. No, you read a book, JP. It's called a book. Okay, paper. Okay, it has a cover.
Thank you.
But I like what the opportunity. Oh, jeez.
Put that book away, Joe.
Put that book
away.
Don't
need it. We're done with that book. We won't tell you what that book is.
We can do a book burning with that.
It's from a previous – anyway, go ahead.
But I lost my church. My point is, in the last couple games that you have, you want to continue to see improvement with your young quarterback. I thought this past game, he took a step up, and because the weeks previous, I thought he clearly took steps back. He had accuracy issues. His feet got happy. The pocket presence that he showed wasn't great, but he got some good protection. He made some good throws. He made some really decisive decisions. The accuracy he's still got to work on. The execution of his wide receivers has got to get better still. But I liked what I saw out of him in this game. And this was a game, now remember, J-Rob got hurt, and it's not like Ogunbowale, which is terrible, by the way.
Horrible.
And Ogunbowale wasn't exactly ripping it up now, or the running game wasn't ripping it up against the Jets defense that, oh, by the way, had 2 defensive tackles, a defensive end, a nickelback, and 2 safeties out because of either COVID or injury.
On that note, let's come back and look ahead to the Jaguars and the New England Patriots. Week 17.
Look, I always, and I'm dead serious about this, I really enjoy watching Bill Belichick coach teams because he is the best. Make no mistake about it, he's the best coach in football, and it's not even close.
We'll return in just a moment. This is the Jaguars Coaches Show on Jaguars Radio.
On the road, there's a thin line between safety and tragedy. Don't cross it. Give law enforcement, first responders, and service professionals the space to safely do their jobs. When you see flashing lights, move over a lane or slow down 20 miles per hour below the posted speed limit. See lights? Move over, Florida. Brought to you by the Florida Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles and the Florida Highway Patrol.
You know Scrubbles is the best car wash in town with our newest location at Kernan and Atlantic. But listen to this. Scrubbles is offering the first ever car wash family plan. Purchase any of our monthly plans and get a $5 discount for up to 3 additional family members. As always, with every wash, you can enjoy free-to-use wipe-down towels, self-service cleaning stations, and that great-smelling Scrubbles air freshener. Visit us today at any one of our convenient locations. Scrubbles, you'll know quality once you arrive.
At VyStar Credit Union, you inspire us to deliver on our promise, to do good for our members and our communities. That's why we offer more banking options, like better rates and no hidden fees. We also give back, donating several $1 million to hundreds of nonprofits each year. Better financial lives, stronger communities. VyStar Credit Union. Do good. Bank better. Visit vystarcu.org/join. Insured by NCUA.
As drivers, our surroundings are constantly changing. Like, when did this lane become a bike lane? And why can't I turn right on red here? And not just change, we have distractions too. Grandma, look! Cute ones, but nevertheless distractions. So it's important to always pay attention, especially around crosswalks. 1 in 4 traffic fatalities involve a pedestrian. You're smart, Grandma. Smart enough to know that safety doesn't happen by accident.
Alert today, alive tomorrow. A message from the Florida Department of Transportation.
Roof Claim is a proud supporter of professional football and the Jacksonville Jaguars. They built their company on an idea that homeowners deserve to be winners. When a home is damaged by severe weather, Roof Claim can identify the damage, work with your insurance company, and help you professionally replace your roof. At Roof Claim, they make protection simple. Visit their website at roofclaim.com to schedule your free drone or in-person inspection. This season, make Pepsi your go-to game day drink because it's the only drink for football watching. Just look for 20-ounce Pepsi products in the cooler door at your local Gate convenience store and see how you could win an exclusive VIP experience at the Jacksonville Zoo and an opportunity to eat lunch with a Jaguars player. Eat with a big cat. Courtesy of Pepsi and Gate. No purchase necessary. Visit jaguars.com/zoo for official rules and details. Ends 12/31/21.
Welcome back. The Jaguars Coaches Show continues right now.
Welcome back. It's the Jaguars Coaches Show. JP Shadrick, Jeff Lageman. Thanks to Darrell Bevell, interim head coach, who joined us in the first.
Might need to get you a
half
bib.
hour. Yeah, one of those days. So, all right, the Jaguars face the New England Patriots this week, a place in Foxborough that the Jags have never won. And the Jags did win the last meeting between the teams back in 2018, Logs.
Yeah,
that seems like an eternity.
That doesn't mean
ago.
anything now. I mean,
know.
the teams are so vastly different. But the Patriots have lost, their last 2 games. They lost to Buffalo, a game that Buffalo needed in a big way. They lost the week before that in a game against the Indianapolis Colts, where the Indianapolis Colts ran the ball, really well. Mm-hmm. Jonathan Taylor was an absolute beast in that game. Well, that was a Thursday night game, right? Thursday night, New England, Indianapolis, I think it was.
Yeah, that's right.
2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so the Patriots reeling a little bit. This is a home game for them, and I know that they're looking to get a spot in the playoffs and go in with a little bit of momentum, and so it should be a good football game just from the standpoint of, look, I'm excited about seeing Mac Jones. I watched him play when he was a young player at Bowles a couple times, and obviously they didn't throw the ball a whole lot while he was there.
They may not.
You watched
either.
him. You watched him in Alabama.
Yeah.
He was
sat behind people and waited his turn, and then got out there, and he was fantastic.
Highly accurate passer. He's a local kid, so it's cool, man. It's going to be a fun matchup of two young quarterbacks once again. And right now Trevor Lawrence is 0-2 in the rookie row games, and an opportunity to win this one.
It would be nice to knock off the Patriots for sure and get something positive around the Jags organization. It's been a heck of a week so far.
Well, and I think there's a relevant question is that does it matter? I mean, can you build something to go into the offseason? And I say yes. A lot of people would say it doesn't matter, that it's better to get the higher draft pick. Well, I'm not a big believer in that. I'm a believer in that everything matters. Winning matters, and you've got to win every opportunity that you can. And especially when you have a young quarterback in place, you've got to have some positive results. And to allow him to feel that success, for the fans to see that success, his teammates to see it and feel it.
That will do it for tonight's show. Our thanks to Joe Fortunato, Brent Reber, interim head coach Darrell Bevell. For Jeff Lageman, I'm JP Shadrick. This is the Jaguars Coaches Show on the Jaguars Radio Network.